Whew, no downtime here. We're starting hot. Forgot to turn on the cameras until the race was absolutely starting. So here we go. And just, right off the bat, couldn't get clipped in, and kind of lost some spots immediately. So hey, we're here in Zeeland, Michigan for the Twilight Criterium. Real fun one. Happy to have a true Criterium in the state of Michigan. 6-corner crit. It's going to be a 45-minute race. So, coming in here, again, kind of got to the start line late and was in the back. Couldn't get clipped in. Felt like I was in the back. Base Media came with 4 guys for this race. Knew they'd be up to some shenanigans. So, needed to spend this first lap really getting up to the front. Making sure I was there in case they were doing something. And so, really spending the first couple of straightaways here, really hammering it and getting back up towards the front. Was able to make up quite a few positions, was able to get towards the front of the race here. As we come into the 5th corner, it's a good thing that I did. So caught up now to the Base Media guys coming into this 5th corner of the lap, and if we look behind, there we see our first crash of the race on lap 1. It's a Cat3 4-5 race. And, certainly a lot of people, again, Michigan doesn't have really any other true criteriums, so, definitely going to be a lot of people inexperienced, including myself, very much including myself, with being able to carry that high speed through these corners. So here we have the straightaway back to the start-finish line, and the first lap is now almost complete. So, again, new Base Media, bringing 4 people here would be up to something. Knew we'd have to cover some breaks, and certainly got definitely used quite a bit of effort here on that first lap just to get into a decent position within the group. But now it's going to be time to also start thinking about how do we cover the different attacks or be in an attack. Here we're still pretty stretched out, not too concerned here, but certainly, what I really didn't want is, say, two Base Media guys kind of get out alone. Maybe they rotate and try to keep themselves away the whole time. So this was a ton of fun for me, this course. Again, not having ever done a true criterium, getting to feel what it's like to take these corners, have a nice 6-corner crit. It really was it was a fun event. In fact, it was outside of the course itself, this was just an awesome venue. You can see we're going through a neighborhood here right in downtown Zeeland. There's people sitting on the curb. They're cheering every time we came through. People in their yards, but also people at that start-finish line. It was a really cool experience to be in. This was a ton of fun. There's only 3 races today. There was a 4-5, a 3-4-5, and then a 1-2-3. And so this was the one. This is my first race of the day. Was really looking to do well here, and hadn't decided if I would actually do the pro 1-2-3 race or not. I ended up not doing it. Was content with just doing this race here. So we're coming right back through that start-finish line, and so we're going to end up cutting to the action in just a few minutes here. And you can see here on the left side, those are some of the racers that either crashed or got caught up in the crash. Quite a few of my teammates were in there. One had crashed, the other 2 were just caught up in it, so they were taking their free lap and they're jumping back in. So in terms of really this front group, I'm the only one left from the team in this. Okay, so as you can see here, base media is trying to control this race. I think they have 3 other racers up front here. Maybe 1 or 2 racers, that are non-base media up there with them, but really trying to set the pace. And this is the 4th base media guy who's coming through. He's going to go on his first attack. Then I immediately, if I thought about ramping up, I had this guy come right up to my left side, kind of blocking me in from chasing him. So I can't immediately throttle up to go with him. Not that I necessarily wanted to, but certainly to get more towards the front at this point to decide if this is going to go or not. And so since I couldn't make it with him originally, I sit back, but now I start to move up a little bit. As people start to cover it, I want to make sure I'm a part of the group that's covering it. As those people chase, base media also speeds up, and now we're stretched out, but I feel good. I don't have to go around any of these people. They all reacted to this first attack. Alright, so as I make my way up to the front of this chasing group, what I realize is the one who's off the front is Kyle. He is the sprinter of the group, and so, that's kind of the guy I wanted to mark for the whole race anyway. So if he's also the one in a breakaway, then, I decided I wanted to close that gap and get with him. I knew it was probably a pretty foolish move to use energy to catch up to this group, and that they would be chased down. But again, kind of Kyle was the marked man for me in terms of who I knew I wanted to be with at the end. And so I just decided to close that gap and sit here. And again, I mean, this group ends up, closing the gap and being with us 20 seconds later. And so it definitely was not an effort I needed to put in hindsight. And I kind of get killed here in the first third of this race in terms of closing gaps. So it was definitely one of these ones I should not have done. And so, as I catch them, I'm kind of already expecting there to be a counterattack from base media. I really just expected one after another throughout this race. So as the group caught up and I saw another base media with another rider kind of go past us, I just jumped on their wheel. Really just wanted to stay at the front here and mark as many attacks as my body could handle. Okay, so we're in a preem lap. I thought this was an opportunity to try to create a breakaway. Base media's been in control of this race so far. They got one guy up towards the front, riding second wheel, and we're a little stretched out. And so, certainly just kind of, I was a little tired from an effort before, but, as we come through here, I just decide that maybe it's time to go for, a little bit of an effort and see if, with it being a 6 corner crit, you have a lot of opportunities to create gaps and create a breakaway. And so I wanted to go a little bit in control of this race and see who would go with me and see if we could stay away. And so here on the last stretch before the start finish line, I throttle up, not to a massive amount, but enough to just up that pace a bit here, just 400, high 300s, and see if we could stretch the field. And as we go into the actual preem sprint, see if that creates a gap. So I'm not going for this at all here. But can we create a breakaway here? And so we see, certainly Kyle can go for it and get that. So we see him go for it. I just throttle up enough to, again, kind of stretch that field, try to make it snap going into the next corner, and see if we have a breakaway going. Ideally, I don't want the breakaway to be me and 2 base media guys, but to me, I'll take what I can get. I think I could, they would want to stay away for the rest of it anyway, and so I'd be okay with that. So here, Kyle sits up and then gets back down. When he sees that it is a breakaway, he sits back up and goes again. I'm going to let the second base media guy go and let them do all the work. And so here I sit up, or, kind of catch back up and to go to sit on the wheel. And I think what we heard there behind us was another crash, which is why I said we're good. Now, this is not ideally what I wanted. Here, they're not working together to keep the breakaway going. They have, one guy goes up the field in a further breakaway, and the other one kind of sits back. And he's saying go, right? Like, don't don't wait for us. You go. I'm keeping them at bay by doing no work. And I didn't want to mark it because I would have dragged him up and then he would have gone. And so I'll let these guys instead chase it down. I was hoping we could have a 3-guy breakaway. That's not what the tactic they wanted to use, and that's fine. But, happy to try to do something, try to create some sort of tactic in that preem lap. And so here now I'll sit back a little bit, I'll relax, and the rest of the field's going to, try to chase this one down a little bit. Because they do, base media still does have one guy off the front.
Get on the front. Go around base media.
Here, so I try to learn from other people. I've certainly been yelled at to do effort, even when it doesn't make sense for me to do it. Here I'm trying to yell at some people to leapfrog base media. They're trying to set a pace right to make it so that their guy stays away off the front, and you obviously have to go around them, and you need to be the one to chase them down because they're not going to chase down their own teammate. But I don't want to do the chasing, and so I try to yell at the other riders to do it for me. Sometimes you get yelled at and say, do it your damn self. Here, people start chasing. The effort increases, and we're going to bring this guy back. Not saying that happened because I told them to go around him, but I certainly did my best effort to play some psychological games to get others to do it. So you can see I try it again, and this time this guy waves me through. He's like, yeah, if you want somebody to go around him, you do it. So again, I kind of expect that to be the response, but you can't fault me for trying, right? And so, and I also do. I'm moving up now. We'll need to do some chasing, and I'm willing to do some work. Just want to try to get others to do it first. Okay, we've jumped quite a bit ahead to the next preem lap. Not a ton had happened. Group stretched out a few times, but really, no big attacks. And I was certainly able to mostly recover. But another preem lap. Expectation is the pace is going to increase. And just want to make sure I'm towards the front here. So I've moved up a bit, and I want to move up more. You can see there's still a couple people a little bit off the front. And so, as long as and then I see another person attack hard there. You can kind of see, I think it was a base media rider. And so, again, pace just continues to increase as we go through these corners. You know, want to stay upright, want to stay towards the front. You know, preem lap with that speed increase, good chance that there's going to be, you know, maybe potentially another crash here. And so, you know, the further front, maybe the cleaner I can be. And what we see here is, you know, rider came in hot and hit the curb, I think, and just kind of sat down. You know, didn't take anybody else out, just kind of overcooked it, I think, into the corner and went wide. So with that happening, you know, the group in the front is a little stretched out now, and so just want to make sure that we get back into that group and we don't create any massive gaps. So we're coming into the straightaway before the start finish line. Again, I you know, with a preem lap with you know, these tight corners, fast speeds, I just don't want to be gapped. You can see how that group is way out in front of us, and so I've decided, you know, I got to close that up, and so definitely put in a big effort here so that I can move around these guys and get back to that front group. I didn't want to get left here at all, and you know, didn't have to put in a long one, you know, just kind of just hit a high power, and certainly this group sat up. And so again, this is another one where I probably put in way more effort than I needed to close that distance. But again, I just didn't want to be left out. You know, there was a big group going off the front going into the start finish line of a preem lap. I just thought, you know, there's a chance this group could really up the threshold, up the effort, and create a bigger gap. And so I wanted to make sure I closed it. Alright, so as I set up earlier, this is a Cat3, 4, 5 race, so kind of a wide spectrum of potential riders who could be in this race, and just want to highlight this move that we have come up here, where you'll barely be able to see it, but you're going to see this rider in that, I think it's kind of like a white and red, white and orange one. As we come around this corner, just swoops way left without looking, and so you see, oh, there we go, and you see kind of everyone gets pushed out. So yeah, I yell predictable lines. I don't think you can hear, but you know, he decided just to swoop left. You know, he could be a Cat3 for all that it matters. You know, obviously I don't know what cat he is, but just a bad move. Didn't look to see if there's anybody there. Really disrupted people. Could have taken a couple people down, certainly. But that, you know, I think there was 5 total crashes in this race, and that could have been a 6th one there. Just, you know, trying to get people to keep the predictable lines, and certainly there's more likelihood of those sorts of things with mixed cat races of a 3, 4, 5. So we're down to 6 laps to go, and I'm pretty far to the back of the group here. And so as we come through the second corner, you know, I use this as one opportunity to you know, move up, you know, maybe 8 spots or so. Not a massive number of spots, but you know, get more towards the front just in case things pop off. I can go with them, or you know, more easily cover the break and chase it down. So moved up a couple spots there. And I feel good with this spot. The group is, at least at this point, completely together. No one attacked off the front. And so we're coming into the second to last turn into that start finish line. And what we're going to see is a group of people go on an attack. And so we see a couple people move off here. And we'll see the attack go there. You see, I think that one's Noah from Base Media. He goes. I think he's reacting to a couple other people who did already go, and so he's covering that attack. Yeah, you can see there's already 5 or 6 people kind of stretched out in front. So he was going to make sure that got covered. And here, just gotta up the pace. Yeah, I can't. With only 5 laps to go, I can't gamble that the rest of the group will bring them back. So I just gotta hammer it and catch up to them. What this meant was every time I did this, again, I'm wasting energy. Potentially, if everyone sits up and this group completely comes back together, which it's going to do, that's a wasted effort on me. If we look in the rear view camera, we're gonna see the same rider had taken kind of a bad line previously. Is behind me, and Kyle's gonna try to come up to the side. You see him press in. It's just another spot where we almost have an accident. Kyle, is good on his bike, and so he was able to squeeze through there. But kind of another spot where people are kind of, not taking straight lines and potentially causing accidents and crashes. Three, 4 people. This was a nice part of the race in that others took it over, kind of from Base Media to attack. There is one Base Media guy I think still off the at the very front, but a lot of attacks kind of at this part of the race had been others attacking and then Base having to cover them. And what that meant was I didn't have to cover anything. Knew that they would cover, and I could mostly just make sure I stayed with them when they did that. Again, in case any splits happened. But, my feeling was if Base is doing the attacks, I need to be the one to cover them. But if it's somebody else, then they're going to be the ones definitely to cover it. As I expected them to want to put together a sprint train at the end for Kyle. So again, I'm able to kind of just sit back here and just, not do a ton of work, which was nice. Okay, and so now we are into the final 2 laps. There's nobody off the front. I am 100% convinced at this point that this is going to be a sprint finish. Base had been covering all of the attacks, making sure no one got away. They're all towards the front now, and that certainly to me means they're going to put together a lead-out train for Kyle. And so really all I need to be worried about at this point is to get on Kyle's wheel and stay there until the sprint. And so, again, if anything goes off here at all, I'm expecting that they'll continue to cover it. And so I'm really not worried, not really looking towards the front at all. I just want to make sure that kind of Base Media as a whole doesn't get too far away from me. And as we come into that final lap, I'm able to find Kyle's wheel and be on it, stick to it. Definitely wasn't looking to crash there, so I did announce myself being on the inside, just in case. 1.5 laps to go is not the time to crash. So, if everything's good here, feeling good. I got Kyle directly in front of me, and so now I just got to find my way to his wheel. But there's plenty of time here as we make the final turn into the start-finish line to go to the last lap. Plenty of time to find that wheel here. Just feeling good. And feeling ready to go. And you see, I make up, I didn't want that guy in the red kit to get kind of in my way. And so I do kind of surge around. And, as Kyle really accelerates to get towards the front going into this final lap, I wanted to make sure I was with him. I think this... I'm not sure if this is Kyle or this is one of the other teammates, actually. That might be the other teammate there. Yeah, it is. So, but again, if these guys are going to be part of the lead-out train, making sure I'm by one of them is good. And I move up here way too close to the curb for my comfort. That's going to be Kyle right there in the 4. And so, here we are. I need to get on his wheel. And so you can see I kind of just make my presence known and knock this guy off Kyle's wheel so I can be on it. I wanted that wheel. I took that wheel. And so here we go. He's now got 2 guys. He's going to be shouting for them to go faster. And, we want to up this pace. We want to stretch out this line. I want them to stretch it out as well. They kind of overcook it. He almost goes into the curb there. I take this wheel. He shouted for his teammate to take it. I said, no, thank you. And this is perfect. I want them to up this pace. I'll be honest, I'm not great at cornering, and Kyle has massive watts. I wanted to beat Kyle here. Was going 100%, but I kind of thought, I'm probably fighting for second here. And so the faster they go, the faster they get rid of all of these other people behind us, the better my chance for second is. And so I'm cheering them on just as much as Kyle is to up this pace. Push it, and now we're going to come into this final corner, and we're off to the final sprint here, and you can just see, Kyle just runs away from me. Just an absolutely incredible sprint by Kyle. I'm still going, but it was over. I'm clapping.
Great job, Kyle.
It was a phenomenal sprint. In his video, he hit 1,650 watts.
I can't take those corners at your speed.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
That was great, man.
That was, it was an incredible sprint by him. I had no chance. I'm not good at cornering. So I lost him, I lost a couple feet, on the corner. Then I lost many bike lengths on the sprint. So just an incredible performance by him. Obviously, just a great team kind of that they put together and did some early attacks that wore me out. Made sure that they were in stuff, brought it all back together, put out a lead out train. Great job by them. I was able to do exactly what I wanted to, covered the early breaks, knew that if it came back together, they would put together a sprint. They'd put together their train, jumped on it, got on the wheel I wanted, did everything I wanted to. Just at the end of the day, couldn't take that corner at the speed I needed to, and just couldn't stay with Kyle. Couldn't go around him for sure. Took second. Really fun race. First actual Criterium that I've ever done, and so happy with the result for sure. A lot of fun. Always fun competing. So that's the end of the race. Took second in a Cat3 4 race. Did not do the Pro 1, 2, 3 afterwards. Went and got a burger and fries instead. Thoroughly enjoyed those, and that's the end. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you at the next race.
Your acceleration is ridiculous. I love quick corners too. Yeah, I thought that. I can take all these at 30. I mean, you hear I pedal clip multiple times. I just don't have that good light yet.